All right, I'm Chris Walsh from the New Tech Network, and we are here at NTAC 2012 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I am joined by two assessment gurus who have joined us here at the conference. First, we have Erika Neilsen Andrew from Envision Learning Partners and Allison Rowland, formerly of Envision, but now with New Tech Network. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So you guys are doing a lot of work here with a group that are doing a design studio around assessment work, and I want to come back to that, but maybe for everybody out there we should tell them a little bit about some of the work that has been happening for maybe the last few months, maybe in the last couple of years, to kind of get us to this point. So tell us a little bit about the project that we've initiated with Envision.
Okay, well first of all, it's called the Deeper Learning Student Assessment Initiative.
Say that 10 times
Exactly. I'm going to say DLSAI from here on out. And basically this is a project which is comprised of 4 national organizations and 4 national funders who are thinking about what do we mean by college ready, college and career ready, and how do we know when we see it. And in particular we're trying to figure out what do we mean by ready, what does the evidence look like, and how do you build a system around that, especially in systems that are underway. And so how do you move a system toward knowing that these fabulous projects are yielding college and career ready?
So what does that look like when we say college readiness? There's frameworks around that. There's actual assessments and tasks. Tell us a little bit about how that's been to this point implemented at a place like Envision.
Okay, so at Envision it means an entire school getting their head around a collective standard, and then there are tasks and rubrics that measure that collective standard, and then over 4 years we're essentially creating a 4-year story of a student's experience so that by the end of 4 years they have demonstrated through 2 portfolio defenses that they have work that demonstrates proficiency of those standards.
That's great. So I'm wondering, what does this now look like with us all working together? So tell us a little bit about some of the work that we plan to do at New Tech.
Okay, so we're taking a look at a performance assessment system for New Tech, taking into account the incredible work that's already been done, the project-based learning and the tech platform and the strong school cultures that already exist, and thinking about how can we make that even stronger by getting really clear about what we mean by ready in our network. And so we're working with teachers who all across the country who are in different New Tech schools, and they will be piloting some of these performance assessments that come out of Envision schools to see how it might work in our network and to see if it can strengthen the student work that we get from students during project-based learning. Our hopes are to eventually think about what this could mean for our whole network, but this year we're trying it out on a smaller scale to see how it goes. One step at a time. Yes.
So at the end of this year, what will we have learned from this, do you think?
Well, that is a good question. I think it is a true pilot. I think we're going to learn a lot, but I think what we'll find is that the performance assessment system that comes from Envision Learning Partners really does align well with project-based learning, and that it makes sure that in all of these projects that students are doing in a range of classes across all of the schools, that it's adding up to them being college ready or ready to move on to the next step in their lives. And so through teachers getting clear about what they're looking for in students' work, it really raises the rigor and helps students to meet clear expectations that add up to college for them.
And has that been the case at Envision? Would you say that this work that you've been doing over 10 years now, right? Yep. Has that really made kids more prepared for college and succeed in college, in your opinion?
I mean, we have 2 ways of knowing that. One is we check our persistence data to see the number of students that are persisting through college. The other way is that we talk with them. We bring them back and have them talk with us about what about this performance assessment system prepared them and where do we need to tweak it. So.
And you mentioned student work and rigor a couple of times. Why is that so important to start with the student work, do you guys think?
I think because it sometimes we have notions of how students are doing or gut feelings around it, and also when people are giving students tasks that are different because there are different projects all across the board, it's hard to sort of measure where students are across our whole network. But if we have assessments that ask for students to demonstrate particular skills, we can start to look at how are students doing in relation to those skills. And so actually looking at the student work gives us a lot of information about where we are and where we need to go.
I just want to add one other thing to that. Is we had a pretty interesting conversation today about that, where the conversation moved from preparing students to be eligible to preparing them to be ready, and to have that readiness transparent to kids themselves. And I think the quality conversation puts everybody on the same page about what we're shooting for, whether it's kids, parents, teachers, etc.
Now, another part of this is some you mentioned systems, and the systems I think you're talking about are larger assessment systems and frameworks and tools that we want to put in place. But there's actually some technology systems that we're hoping to put in place as well. And I'm wondering if you guys can share us a little bit about kind of what's coming ahead to help facilitate this.
You want to take that?
Go ahead.
Okay, so what we've learned about doing performance assessment at Envision prior to this platform that Chris is referring to is that it's only as good as the scoring is reliable, and it's only as good as it is efficient, because teachers have a lot to do. So we're very interested in piloting this platform called Show Evidence, which will allow us, it sort of answers the design challenge of how do you do performance assessment efficiently, effectively, reliably. And so this platform will allow teachers to score the work online, have a second set of scoring to validate the scoring itself, as well as make the whole process a lot more efficient, and simultaneously give students better feedback so that they can keep inching toward that vision of quality.
And so our hope is to eventually integrate that into ECHO as a resource for teachers. So Chris, can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, I would just add that it's a work in progress, that the platform is still being built, and that we're hoping to pilot that at some point during the year that we're piloting it with these design teams here at NTAC. The two will merge together, and then that platform would then be available more widely in the following school year. So we don't want to get people too excited about it, but I think it is important for people to know that we're not just talking about adding a new layer of paper-based sort of assessment when so much of what we already do is online and with an LMS, that we're hoping that the two efforts will merge with this third-party tool that we're going to build into ECHO. So stay tuned on that, but the people that are part of the program should get an early heads up on that, right? They should they should be using that at some point this year?
Absolutely. So we'll probably be piloting sometime during second semester, where people will have a chance to check out Show Evidence, try it out, and for us to work out some of the kinks before we go broader with it.
That's great. So last question is if people are watching this who maybe aren't participating in the design work that you guys are doing over the last couple days, and they're hearing a lot of change. They're probably hearing a lot of things that are different than language they've already heard from NTAC, or it sounds like something that could be daunting. What sort of advice could you give to people kind of as they kind of move into this and start to think about preparing themselves and their schools for this sort of change? Did I stump you? All right, I win!
Yeah, exactly.
What are the things that we have to be thinking about as we prepare for this as a network?
I think that I think we need to understand why we're doing this, and that is for the sake of our students, that we want to make sure they're as ready as possible when they're graduating from high school. And this is a system that will help us to do that. It's not so far off from what is already happening. It's really leveraging the power of our network and getting clear about what we hope for our students. And so if you can think about that in the big picture, then the smaller pieces that might require some flexibility or change make more sense. And so I think if we keep in mind doing what's right for our students and challenging them and pushing them towards readiness, then the other pieces sort of fall under that. And Envision Schools does extensive project-based learning, and so where the system is coming from is not something that's so grandly different than what NTAC is.
Anything to add? I mean, what I'm thinking is, what's sort of the lesson learned for Envision over all this time, and with this, and why at this date bring this to other organizations?
Well, I mean, I think we're bringing it to other organizations because it's working for our kids. Like, we're seeing the type of results that we want to, always room to improve, but we're seeing it prepare kids to be ready. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could add to that conversation now, other than I do think that the time that we're spending with a teacher group trying to figure out how things fit is well worth the time, because they do fit. And if we can figure that out, then I think that people will see this as just the next step.
And I just would add that I think it's really smart that, and this wasn't my idea, but that we're starting small and we're piloting and having teachers try it out so that we can really get their input about how to make it work at NTAC, because they're the folks who are on the ground teaching in classrooms, and they're going to know what's going to work and what isn't, and where we need to be flexible or not. And so I think that's a really important step in the process.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is that we're really adapting something that's been worked, that's done really well somewhere else, and bringing the best of that into our network. And I think that's one of the things that we can do as a national network that's hard for individual schools to maybe tackle on their own, is we can leverage kind of all the experience and all the people that we have interaction with on an ongoing basis to bring that best practices to everyone and help us all continue to get better. And so we look forward to more interaction with Envision, of course. And thank you guys both for taking on this important work, and wish you all the best as you finish out the work here at NTAC.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, for everyone here at NTAC, I'm Chris Walsh. We'll see you soon.
All righty.